Here we are at another theme park on our road trip. My name's Adam, this is UK Theme Parks, and today we are in Southport to have a look at Pleasureland. We haven't been to Pleasureland now for a good couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see what the changes are, to be honest. We know that they have quite a lot of temporary rides. We can certainly see a couple of new rides we haven't seen before. There's a Frisbee over there, there's an Enterprise over there, there's also the booster behind us, which is Vertigo, which I think is sitting where the Wildcat roller coaster was, and be interested to see if the Crazy Loops open. We're not sure how much we're going to go on because I still don't like the card system they operate, but we are going to go in, we are going to have a look, and we are going to report what we see. So this is the first time we've vlogged from this park. We've been in many times in the past. So for those that don't know, Southport Pleasureland has a rich history of rides and attractions. I can't tell you when it opened, but it did have a major problem. I think it was Blackpool that took it over and it shut it down. So there used to be a little wooden roller coaster over the back there, which got, you know, it was when the park closed, people chained themselves to it, and it was a real disaster. It made the news, but it was torn down. In the same spot over there as well, there was the Traumatizer, and the Traumatizer can be found at Blackpool Pleasure Beach as Infusion, which opened there in 2007, just after this place closed. Now this place financially wasn't making any money. It was closed for a long time before new Pleasureland, I believe, opened in 2014. However, a lot of this is kind of fare-based rides. You know, there isn't a lot of permanent attractions. Some of this building you see here, it's kind of what was here first time round, and the same with all over this side as well. So they bought a few Camelot rides. There was rumours that Nightmare would be coming here. We've seen images of it. We know the trains are here. We know a bit of tracks here. So we're going to have a little look around, see what we can find, and see whether or not there's any permanent additions. The log flume was very nicely put in. There's also the pirate ship over the back, which was at Camelot, which has also been nicely put in. But the Wildcat coaster, which was a Pin Ferry model, very similar to the one actually it's just shut down in Clarence Pier, the Skyways, used to sit where Vertigo sits right now. And funnily enough, when it closed, when the park closed, that was sold. It was one of the first things they bought back when the park reopened. It wasn't a particularly good coaster. In fact, last time we came here, it was shut because it was broken. But at the moment, Vertigo seems to be the replacement. But let's have a look around, let's see what changes they've done. You know, there's a very interesting waltz here. We'll start with this waltzer actually. Now those that follow us on Facebook will have seen the Miami we posted a couple of years back, which had a lovely backdrop of just plain white. It's possibly the most boring Miami I'd ever seen in my life. And I have to say, when you look at this waltzer, you can tell that it's probably supposed to have graphics, but they don't want it to look temporary, so instead they spent loads of money on wood. Just very odd, very odd, very odd indeed. But let's have a look around. What is it? So as you can see coming in the entrance there are a few of the old building, including the toilets, but there are a few nice new models as well. Nice new models kind of welcome you to Pleasureland. That's the main entrance there. That's the one you should be coming through, where you'll be greeted with the waltzer and you'll be greeted with Vertigo. The Wildcat has definitely gone. The roller coaster, the Pin Ferry one, is nowhere that we can see on site, and the Vertigo has replaced it, which definitely looks temporary. Definitely looks temporary. These are really interesting. It's one of the most interesting rides I've ever seen, but I guess for the little ones that's really good. You can get your own paddle. Get your own paddle as well. We're going to have a quick look on the log flume. We're going to have a look on the, I think there's a viewing platform for the log flume. Last came as well, was this fun house here. I mean, that's a genuinely good looking fun house. Great looking climbing area, absolutely great. That is really, really nice detail. As you come over the back here, we have the wacky worm, and we have the log flume, and we have the old Pleasureland. I keep calling it Pleasure Island. It's Pleasureland. We have the old Pleasureland arcades over there. We're going to head up on the viewing platform now and have a look at the log flume. It's a fairly standard travelling one, but it's got quite a nice theme, quite a nice bit of wood behind it, so we're going to have to check it out. We'll have a look at the wacky worm on the way round. I mean, the back of that fun house is awesome. Behind us here is the log flume. Okay, Loggers Leap, Hayden Island, eat your heart out. We have found the dirtiest log flume in the country. We won't be going on that. I like to get splashed on a nice hot day, but not like that, I don't. That's just green. That's green and disgusting. One more look at these, look. That is a cracking fun house. Cracking. Got some beautiful garden areas here. You know, it's not a very big location. You can probably see over the back there, it's not very big. But some beautiful kind of garden things. I don't really know where these trains have come from. They just sort of sit there. Just sort of sit there. I don't know whether the dragon train, so the old Camelot coaster, the old powered one, which had its driver and was, I think it was diesel powered. The train is actually here. The track was never moved from Camelot. That's still there now. Why the train came here is completely beyond me. I can't think of a time they're actually going to be able to use it elsewhere. Oh, we've got a little maze too. Oh, I don't know what that is. I kind of want to go in and find out. Stick our nose around and have a look, I think. Okay, it looks like we found a free maze, so let's have a little walk around. Might not be the most interesting thing we do today. I do like a bit of B&Q fencing, but I like a good freebie. We've just walked in. We'll see if we can find the exit. Kurt, lead the way.
Me?
Ah, rubbish. Well, that was a good start. We kind of took the shortest route there by walking in and turning left, thinking we could go back out by the exit. But there's a big 6-foot fence in the way. So it looks like we might have to venture in a bit further. Or go back out the entrance and cheat. He's right, it wouldn't be the first time we've walked back out the entrance and cheated. It just seems too easy to go left. Someone's knocking. Is that dead end?
No.
I want to go this way. I don't want to go this way. I lied. I actually do want to go this way. This is the genuine way I want to go. Honest. That's the way. Okay, well the kids have run off. I'm assuming they found the exit. A few pictures wouldn't go astray, you know. I wouldn't mind a few pictures. There's no one in sight. I have no idea where everyone is. I've lost them all. I think that's the ghost train, and now I think that's the emergency exit to the ghost train. Can you imagine coming out the emergency exit to the ghost train and ending up in a maze? That would be awesome. Okay, this isn't funny anymore. This isn't funny at all. Where's the bloody exit? I wonder if they use this during Halloween. During Halloween, this would be awesome. Absolutely awesome as a walk-through attraction. Can you only be the reason I think it's here? But I'm out. I'm out. There they are. Wait, over there. I got lost. I got lost. I think I was the only one that got lost. I quite enjoyed that. Should we go back in? Maybe later. Maybe later. Let's take in some of the other rides and attractions here, I think. Quite interested in going on this ghost train, to be honest with you. As they call it now, this was one of the stable attractions. I don't think it was a ghost train. I have a feeling it was something to do with like Indiana Jones based thing, but someone will correct me on that. I'm not quite as up on this park as what I am some of the other ones. But I've always wanted to go in. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll have a look. Okay, so the first thing I said when we come in is I had a lovely themed pirate ship which came from Camelot, which is there. So instead I also said they had a lovely non-themed Miami, which is now in front of it. To be fair, this time it has a logo. I don't know what's wrong with the pirate ship. I mean, of age-wise, you know, it's a real shame because what they've done here is really, really nice. The way the kind of entrance and everything they've built up really, really looks nice. Arguably it's a health and safety issue over the lack of fencing, but it looks really cool. But not anymore, I'm afraid. Let's see what the Miami's like.
Turn away from each other. The steering wheels go round all the blocks and the spin around backwards and turn to the
So last time we were here, where we were standing now was a disco ride the disco ride wasn't open, it was new for that year. The disco ride's already gone. Instead, in its place, we have this like tiny little Miami sort of thing, a bit like the Jungle Bus at Chesington, and we have a little mini drop tower. Those dodgems look amazing. If you want the atmosphere here, those dodgems really sum up the atmosphere. There's quite a lot of families here today. They're really enjoying themselves. We've got the water walkers behind us, and then like the old style twister at the back, which is one of the last ones we went on. So we're going to go over there and have a look at those in a minute. But first, we're going to head over there and have a look at some of the new attractions. That's where kind of some of the big ones are, just over the back there. You've got the jumping frogs, you've got the frisbee, you've got the crazy loop just behind us here. Not sure the crazy loop's open at the moment. It was closed last time we came. I think it's just called roller coaster now. But it's just really loud. There's a lot of music going on. Every single one's playing completely different tracks, so we can't hear ourselves think. So we'll go in there, we'll get some ride footage best we can. We're then going to decide whether or not and what we want to ride whilst we're here. It's definitely an all change since we last come. Last time we come, although this was here, it wasn't open. It wasn't actually quite ready. Now we can hear the lift chain going, but people are being turned away from it, so I'm not convinced it's open now. The frogs that were there weren't there either. The Enterprise, we had a little spinning roller coaster here last time we were here. The little roller coaster over there, funnily enough, which is the one we commented looked like it was made of bamboo, the way it moved, that is still here. And the frisbee wasn't here. There was kind of a knockoff freak-out ride here. The Orbiter wasn't here either. This is all fairly new down here from when we last come. Some of it still looks really temporary. You know, we said that we want the park to really sort of up their game a bit. They want to be known as a theme park, not a fair. A few more rides, maybe it look a bit more permanent. The one we said looked a bit more permanent, the swinging boat ride isn't here anymore, which is a real shame. But we'll see. We'll have a quick look around. We'll see what we're going to go on. We'll check out the prices. I mean, the Ghost Train is free tokens. I'm not actually sure how much tokens are yet, so we should probably go and find that out as well. Let's go and have a look. Another one of the old Camelot rides there, the old balloons which used to sit where the jumping frogs are now, is also closed for this year. We haven't actually come across the old Dragon Train or the Camelot Nightmare Train either, which I understand is here. I reckon it's behind there. We'll see if we can get a kind of a sneak peek of it shortly. But the roller coaster slash speed loop slash whatever they're calling it is open. You just seen it go around there. Looks uncomfortable as all of them, to be honest, but it's their headline roller coaster for this park. That's another Enterprise that seems to stop at 75 degrees. None of them seem to go all the way up to 90 anymore. People blame Merlin for following health and safety too closely, but this is another one. Look at this. Not very high at all, sadly. Even when it goes back up, still a little bit low. But great to see an Enterprise. Don't see enough of them. definitely a little bit quieter over this side of the park. So where we come from over there, where you can see the Enterprise in the background, that is definitely the thrill area of the park. All the big thrill rides are down there. It's great to see the Extreme, the Remix ride down there. You know, looks as intense as ever. Doesn't look quite as good a cycle as what we got down in Southsea. Go back on the vlog if you want to check that one out. Go back to the Southsea vlog, that was last month. That was mental, but still great to see one here. Free tokens for those rides, so it works out at £3. You've got to buy the fun card, which is £1, but it does last for the whole 2018 season. I'm not sure if we're coming back up Southport again or not this year, but we'll probably keep hold of one of the cards. The Ghost Train is also £3. Whether or not the Ghost Train and the Remix warrant the same value, I'm not sure, but I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's go get one and get on there.
No!
Remix was good. It definitely wasn't as good as the Extreme down on Southsea Seafront. It didn't quite have the hang time. It was a little bit lethargic, but it was still good. And then Kurt went on the Ghost Train. Kurt.
Yes.
What did you think of the Ghost Train?
I don't think half of it worked, and the last room all the lights were on, so it didn't look that good. But it was meh.
It was meh. So, for those that don't know, when you come here, you have to buy a fun card. The fun cards are £1. You then top them up. It's like a contactless sort of payment scheme that they have going on. So we decided that we would split it, and that I would go on one ride and Kurt would go on the other, which is exactly what we've done. I chose to go on the Remix, which was good. I can handle the Remix, I know I can. Whether or not he probably can, to be honest with you. He can probably be fine on it, but I'd rather he went on a decent one and knew what it was all about, rather than go on a poor one and never go on a one again. And that one was all right. It actually wasn't poor. It's unfair for me to say it was poor. It was all right. And then he went on the Ghost Train. Now, I haven't been on this Ghost Train. I've heard good things about it, but you're not impressed. Meh. Lights on the end, model's not working. It's a shame, but I haven't seen it yet. I will look back on the video.
Yeah, some of it's good scenery.
Some good scenery, but I'll look back on the video and you'll... Yeah, you'll have seen this before I've talked about it anyway, because we'll put the video in beforehand to show that we've been on it. But yeah, fun cards £1. Personally, I feel, you know, I can understand them not wanting to give it out because the technology is probably quite expensive, to be fair, to use the contactless scheme. However, you know, you don't get the card until you've made a purchase, so it's not like you can just pick up loads of cards and just sort of use them willy-nilly or anything like that. You need to make a purchase for getting the card. And you know, whether or not they should make the card free with a minimum of 10 tokens, which is £10, it's £1 a token. So it's £3 the Ghost Train. £4 if you want to include just the fun pass, if you want to go on that. It was £3 for the Extreme as well. Most of the other rides are £3. We will check the one on the booster on the way out. I'm not sure how much that one was. Some of the smaller rides like the Matterhorn, they're 2.5 tokens. That's not at all frustrating. Not at all frustrating. But yeah, I really think with a minimum of sort of 10 tokens, they should really be giving the cards away for free. I don't see why we should have to pay for the privilege to have a card, to pay for the privilege to go on the ride. And I've said this many times, I've said it in posts over the last 10 years of visiting this park. You know, well, except when it was shut, obviously. We don't understand it. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. Let's go have a look at the booster, see how many tokens that is. It'd be quite interesting to see, actually. So that's it from our visit to Southport Pleasureland 2018. I don't think we'll be back this year. I think this is the only time we're coming up this way, to be fair. And I'm still a bit meh on the park. As I said, it's the first time we vlog from here, to be fair. And normally we do post all over our Facebook page as to kind of what's going on and what's happening and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not that impressed with it. I'm just not that impressed. Kurt, what do you think?
At the park?
Yeah.
No, it's all very temporary.
It is very temporary. Now, we kind of expected them to, you know, really ramp it up a bit, to be honest with you. You know, they've had it back open a bit now, and I know it costs money and things like that, and, you know, there are some really nice touches there. Some genuine nice touches. However, they just haven't capitalised on it at all. You know, some of the temporary rides, for instance, are still there, and then there's some really nice attractions which they put in. They put a bit of theme around them. You know, the log flume comes to mind. The log flume looks lovely over there. The wild mouse, the fun house. I love the fun house. You know, the look and style of that, and then you go out onto the back bit with the, you know, the stepping stones, everything in the water. I just love it. I just think it looks incredible. You know, it would fit in at any theme park. And then you go over the other side with all the thrill rides, which continuously change all the time. You know, it's very difficult to kind of get consistency as to what you would be riding if you come here. You know, the website's not that useful, if I'm being honest. That's what you're welcome by. The website's not that useful, to be honest. So, yeah, very, very difficult to understand exactly what you would be kind of welcome with if you came here. As it stands, a frisbee, I don't particularly like frisbees. I prefer afterburners or freakouts. You know, the Vertigo, actually the Vertigo, the booster, is only 4 tokens. So we talk about the Ghost Train being 3 tokens, which is £3, which is quite expensive. The Vertigo, the extreme ride, the booster, is only 4. And, you know, you can go to most fairs and pay more than that. You know, on cheap nights you pay £2.50 for a booster, let alone when it's kind of not a cheap night, you pay more. So £4 to ride a booster is actually really good value. But £3 to ride a Ghost Train really isn't good value. So it's just so mixed. It's just so frustrating sometimes when you come to places like this that don't run a wristband system and run tokens, that, you know, if all 3 of us were to go on a you know, a whole day out, it's going to cost us 60, 70, 80 quid to just get on a reasonable selection of rides. Now, I know you might say the theme parks are the same price, but, you know, this is highlighted by the Crazy Loop roller coaster, which isn't the most comfortable in the world. You know, you've got to be thinking it's £12 for 3 of us to go on the booster ride. You know, if you've got any more people in your party, it's going to cost even more. There's 4 of us, it's going to cost £16 to go on there. And, you know, that's potentially one card. So to go on one ride for free, you know, you're going to get about 5 or 6 rides in just before you hit the £20 mark. And, you know, with 4 people, it's 80 quid. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And I know it's a seaside resort, and, you know, people flock here anyway because they're on holiday. There's a Pontins a couple of miles down the road, so there's a lot of people that come into Southport and capitalise on it. But you just feel that, you know, had they had a wristband option here today, and then 4 to 8 or 11 to 3 and 3 to 7, whatever their opening times are, we would have seriously considered buying a wristband today, which would have put, you know, about, what did I put? Put about 60, 70, 80 quid in the park's pocket. And as it stands, we've spent 8. And £1 of that was unavoidable in spending. 7, sorry, and £1 of that was unavoidable in spending. So it's a bit of a shame like that. There are queues, there are people's riding, there are families here. You know, I guess if you're local, you could pick up a fun pass and you didn't have to pay for it once. But for us, we do feel a bit aggrieved that we've had to spend £1 on buying a card to ride rides that we want to ride when we got to pay for the ride as well. It just seems a little bit pointless. But, you know, we can't like every park we go to. We're not saying we don't like it, just don't think it's very good value for money. You know, as I said, some of the rides are brilliant. The booster for £4 is really, really good. Really, really top notch. But yeah, that's where we are. That's Pleasureland. That's in Southport. It's still going strong. You know, I do recommend you come down here, check it out. It's a beautiful day today. It's a beautiful beach. It's a nice town as well that you can get into. You know, there's plenty to do in Southport. Don't just think it's this. But this is worth stopping at. You know, it's free entry, so you can walk around, you can soak in the atmosphere. You know, the dodgems are incredible, absolutely incredible dodgems. Really, really does bring out the atmosphere of the park quite nicely, and the families and the children and everything on it. So that alone is worth coming down for. There's some games, there's some stalls, there's lots of kids rides, lots of family rides. You know, there are plenty of attractions, but it is just going to cost you that little bit more to do so. Hope you've enjoyed it today. My name's Adam, this has been UK Theme Parks, and we will see you next time.